Okay, joining us now for more is William Trachman, General Counsel for the Mountain States Legal Foundation, who's suing the federal government over discriminatory hiring policies at the FAA. William, great to have you on this evening. Let me just ask you, before we get into the lawsuit, given what you now know, given what happened last Wednesday, are you comfortable flying commercially in this country right now?
Well, comfortable is a big word. I'm certainly not 100% confident in the American system of air traffic control. I mean, you just heard me last year talking about our clients not becoming air traffic controllers. What you didn't hear me say is that the people who did become air traffic controllers were the beneficiaries of the biographical test, which is the opposite of the merit-based test that was flushed. So obviously I've traveled, I've been on planes, I'm fine. But part of our system is having complete consumer confidence that every time you step on a plane, you're going to get to your destination. And just in the last few days, I think all of us have seen that there's a little bit of nervousness going around because we don't know for sure that we're safe when we go into the air.
Yeah, and I'm one of those Americans. Can you just tell me more about this biographical test? I know that you represent almost 1,000 people, many of whom got perfect test scores, meaning they were on their way, yet their applications were rejected because they were, quote, they were too white.
Yeah, think of when you applied to college, you might have taken the SAT, and they would ask you questions about English or math, and you would get a score, and you'd apply to college based on that score. Well, our clients took what was a valid, bona fide test to become air traffic controllers, but the results of the test skewed too white, according to the Obama administration. And so that test got flushed, a new test got adopted that asked questions like, what was the worst subject you had in high school? And you got the most points if you answered science was my worst subject. The Biden administration wasn't much better. They have been litigating this case, defending it. We had a hearing last week where they asserted attorney-client privilege over 14,000 documents. So I know we're only 3 weeks into the Trump administration, but this case has not gone away just because we have a change in personnel in D.C. The FAA continues to defend their misconduct.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so New York Times report, 19 air traffic controllers up in the tower last Wednesday night. They should have had 30. I don't know, but I don't think 11 people called out sick that night. Could this maybe be this policy bearing fruit? They don't have enough people on staff because the FAA is rejecting really good candidates like many of your clients? Could that be the reason?
Yeah, so generally the onus is on the people who claim that race and gender are positive factors to defend that DEI wasn't the culprit. In this context, certainly the people who defend merit and skill and qualifications, the onus isn't on them to say, well, it had to be DEI. Here, what we know is that the people who did make it through and who were qualified probably had to pick up the slack for the folks who weren't as qualified and needed to have on-the-job training. I don't doubt that that has caused significant stress and shortages in the system. Now, we'll never know for sure to link the exact amount of DEI that caused this incident, but we do know that anytime you introduce stress into the system, you court danger because you're adding risk to an already risky situation with weather, mechanical difficulties, and unexpected problems like helicopters flying where they ought not. So this is just one of those things where you should not have courted danger.
Yeah, and again, I can't speak for everybody, I can speak for myself, but I've never been concerned with the skin color of someone up in the air traffic control tower. Final question, are you surprised, and I just asked North Carolina Senator Ted Budd the same question, that accidents like this, human error accidents that definitely could have been prevented, aren't happening more often?
Well, I've seen the comedian Rob Schneider say, I'm tired of all these white guys landing planes on time and safely, right? Who were the people who actually started caring about race and gender in the cockpit? It is good that we had a little bit of slack in the system such that our system was so safe that even with some near misses, we haven't had a commercial airline incident like this in 15 years. But eventually, these things happen because we've introduced risk into the system. So I hope that I'm not on your show next week about a different disaster, but I have to admit that I am worried.
Okay. William Trachman, appreciate you being with us. We'll keep an eye on your case. Keep us posted as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you.